The marketing industry has been around for a very long time. The first evidence of marketing dates back to 1750 BC, with the first advertising practice having been found on clay tablets in ancient Mesopotamia. Gutenberg's invention of the printing press in 1450 made it possible for the mass production of flyers and brochures, leading to print advertisement. Marketing in radio and television became prevalent in the 1920s, with the first radio advertisement aired in 1922, and the first television commercial aired in 1941. With the development of technology became more forms of advertisement. Oftentimes companies use marketing strategies to break the mold and capture their audience's attention in order to spark discussion or create memories for their consumers. But what happens when they go too far, or when their campaign simply doesn't go as planned? May 25, 1992, roughly 70% of the Philippines' population is gathered around their TVs to see who's going to be the lucky winner of Pepsi's number contest, a contest which had been running for 4 months. In February of 1992, Pepsi announced they would be printing numbers from 001 to 999 on the insides of bottle caps. For Pepsi, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, and Mirinda bottles, certain numbers would win prizes ranging from 100 pesos, or $4 to 1 million pesos, or $40,000. In total, there were about $2 million in prizes. The contest was initially successful as Pepsi's monthly sales increased from $10 million to $14 million. 51,000 prizes had already been redeemed by May, including 17 grand prizes. The campaign even extended its end date by May 8th, another 5 weeks, because it was so popular. During the time of the contest, the Philippines were struggling their economy, with the average monthly salary being roughly $100, meaning the money could be life-changing. That night of May 25th, the 2 winning numbers are announced, and it's 349. People cheer, but it's definitely more than those 2 winners. Instead, 800,000 people believed they were winners, as their caps had the number 349. They believed they had become millionaires overnight. But there was a mistake, as there only should have been 2 winners. Pepsi claimed there was a glitch in the computer. Thousands showed up at the Pepsi bottling plant to claim their prizes, but were turned down. Those thousands were told their bottle caps didn't have a confirmation security code, so they could not be redeemed. Each bottle cap with the winning number contained a security code for confirmation, but those 800,000 caps with the winning number did not have security codes. Pepsi did end up offering $20 to those with the printed bottle caps as a goodwill gesture. The offer was accepted by 486,170 people, costing Pepsi $8.9 million, or 240 million pesos, though many refused to accept Pepsi's offer and instead formed a 349 alliance to boycott Pepsi products, holding rallies outside of their offices and the Philippine government. Some of the protests were peaceful, but others were not. On February 13 of 1993, a teacher and a 5-year-old died when a grenade lobbed at a truck bounced off and exploded near a crowd on a street. In May of that year, 3 Pepsi employees were killed by a grenade thrown into the warehouse. Pepsi executives were fearing for their lives as they were receiving death threats, 37 trucks being overturned, stoned, or burned. In total, 5 people died, with many more injured. As time moved on, the protests stopped, but then started the lawsuits. By the end of 1994, 689 civil suits and 5,200 criminal complaints were thrown out, though some cases lingered into the year 2006. However, a Philippines Supreme Court found that Pepsi was not negligent nor liable for the damages due to their own error. In 1992, Reebok attempted to step up their game and become a more popular brand by launching a $30 million ad campaign. Reebok was mostly popular to women for aerobics, but wanted to expand their market. 2 decathletes and rivals, Dan O'Brien and Dave Johnson, were 2 unknown track stars on their way to the Barcelona Olympics. To Reebok, a gold medal in decathlon would equal endorsing the world's greatest athlete. However, nobody knows who these 2 athletes are, so Reebok goes all out on their campaign and introduced the 2 rivals to the world with 4 commercials. The campaign begins with television commercials, which aired during the Super Bowl 26, with the message, "Who is the world's greatest athlete?" to be settled this summer in Barcelona. Within months, the 2 men were celebrities, and their faces were everywhere. On TV, on magazines. Special merchandise was released. encouraging Americans to pick a side. The campaign was going really well for Reebok, and the two athletes were loved by many. Their last and biggest marketing event was the Olympic trials in New Orleans, where Reebok's plans came crashing down, much like Dan O'Brien's Olympic dreams. Dan failed to qualify for the '92 Barcelona Olympics. However, Dave Johnson does make the Olympic team. Reebok executives are in shock. Dave Johnson goes to the Olympics, and with a foot injury, though he ends up placing third and winning a bronze medal without Dan by his side. After the Olympics, Dave retires, but Dan does not. He ended up winning a gold medal in the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. Neither athletes were titled the world's greatest athlete in 1992, but the campaign was still considered a success for Reebok's athletic footwear market. Plus, Dan was eventually titled the world's greatest athlete 4 years later, although he was wearing Nikes. June 21st, 2005. It's a clear summery Tuesday. Around noon, the temperature unexpectedly rises to 80 degrees. A freezer truck arrives at Union Square, a hoisting crane already waiting in the area. Curious bystanders begin to flood in the area as a 25-foot-tall and 17-ton popsicle made out of kiwi strawberry-flavored Snapple was placed in the middle of Union Square. The event in question was to promote Snapple's new frozen treats line and break a Guinness World Record. But of course it all went horribly wrong. When the popsicle was placed on the sidewalk, it began to melt. A mess of kiwi strawberry-flavored fluid poured onto the streets, bathing the streets in a sticky red goo across 17th Street. But it didn't end there, and it even got more dangerous. A woman fell into Snapple's melted kiwi strawberry popsicle liquid and was rushed off to the hospital with a sprained ankle. A cyclist was thrown off their bike. Then 2 more cyclists were thrown off their bikes. The police were called and firefighters were sent to clean up Snapple's mess. It appears nobody asked the question, what could go wrong, posing a popsicle on the hot cement in the summer? Organizers were unsure why the popsicle wasn't able to withstand the heat. Snapple would not make another attempt at their world record popsicle, as previously set by a 21-foot popsicle in Holland in 1997. In the end, Snapple clearly did not beat a Guinness World Record, but the event wasn't a complete failure in regards of advertisement. Kids in the area received free ice pops from Snapple. Dr. Pepper 10 is a 10-calorie beverage. The design features a gray-colored can with the Dr. Pepper logo and the word 10 added below. Dr. Pepper's new beverage was released in late 2011. Some claimed the beverage had no Dr. Pepper taste and wasn't as sweet as Dr. Pepper, also noting the lingering aftertaste and dry mouth feeling. The new beverage was aimed at men, and Dr. Pepper's national ad proudly claimed the drink is not for women. The research team at the Dr. Pepper Snapple group found men are reluctant to drink diet beverages because it isn't masculine enough for them. The campaign was considered both humorous and controversial, and ended up being a provocative piece of advertising, which could have been a goal for the company or its advertisement agency. The commercial features men shooting ray guns, riding in a futuristic vehicle, and pouring a Dr. Pepper 10 while escaping from bad guys. The person in the commercial asks if the women are enjoying the film, making it rhetorical, and then yells, "Because this is our movie, and Dr. Pepper 10 is our soda." Dr. Pepper 10 had their own Facebook page for their beverage that is marketed toward men, but instead attracted many women who expressed their own thoughts and concerns. The director of marketing for the company, Dave Fleming, claimed the goal was not to alienate women, but to be direct and have fun while doing so, claiming, "We did the research, and it scored well with men and women." Abercrombie & Fitch was founded in the late 1800s by David Abercrombie as a sporting goods retailer. By the 1900s, Ezra Fitch eventually purchased shares in the company. However, disagreements about the company's directions led to Fitch taking full control of the company and leading to Abercrombie stepping away. In 1909, the company mailed 50,000 copies of a catalog throughout the world to introduce their products, which featured outdoor clothing, camping gear, and columns on advice. 1 year later, the company expanded to include women's clothing, and less than 10 years later, they opened a 12-story location in Madison Avenue. Abercrombie & Fitch faced financial struggles and filed for bankruptcy in 1976. Into the 90s, Abercrombie & Fitch transitioned from its sporting brand into a casual luxury brand for the American teen market, all under the leadership of Michael Jeffries. The controversy begins in 2011 when an unnamed Abercrombie manager was asked to respond to the requests of a nonprofit organization to have their clothing donated. The manager admitted the company refuses to donate clothing to those in need and stated, "Abercrombie & Fitch doesn't want to create the image that just anybody, poor people, can wear their clothing. Only people of a certain stature are able to purchase and wear the company name." The ironic thing about it is that Abercrombie & Fitch is not a designer brand, and neither are their competitors, American Eagle and Urban Outfitters. 2006, CEO Michael Jeffries stated, "We go after the cool kids. We go after the attractive all-American kid with a great attitude and a lot of friends. A lot of people don't belong in our clothes, and they can't belong. Are we exclusionary? Absolutely." It's also worth noting that the company refused to carry plus-size clothing only until Jeffries left the company in 2014. Presently, the company claims to focus on inclusivity and diversity. The brand Dove is known for their powerful marketing campaigns and brand messages. They empower women and glorify their beauty regardless of background and body size. Back in 2004, Dove launched their Real Beauty campaign, which was a major success for the company. Billboards popped up in Canada, Germany, and the UK, which included photographs of women's faces. But the thing that was different was that these weren't typical models as seen in magazines or TV. They looked like your mother or your neighbor. They also weren't photoshopped or caked in makeup. The campaign was successful as it tapped into people's emotions. The products are everyday items and not for special occasions, and they're affordable and easily accessible, being able to purchase the products at Target, Walmart, and many other types of stores. However, in 2017, as the campaign continued, Dove was under controversy for an advertisement they posted on their Facebook page. The advertisement featured a black woman wearing a brown t-shirt and pulling it up. Under that brown shirt is an off-white t-shirt revealing a white woman. The woman repeats the process and pulls up her shirt, revealing an Asian woman, with two more women morphing into one another after that. People were not happy with Dove's advertisement, and Dove apologized for publishing the ad on its Facebook page as they were accused of racism, admitting they had missed the mark with their image. Dove tweeted, "An image we recently posted on Facebook missed the mark in representing women of color thoughtfully. We deeply regret the offense it caused." It could be argued that the interpretation of racism could be seen as a misunderstanding on the marketing team's ideas. The ad's intent may have been more aligned with portraying diversity rather than creating a racial hierarchy. Although the advertisement was removed, the damage was already done, and roughly 3,000 comments on the tweet were mostly negative. Some of those comments even called to boycott Dove's products. The marketing industry can do a lot of good for brands and their audiences, but it can also cause many issues for those companies. Sometimes campaigns are successful and consumers love them. Other times, they fail, causing backlash or even accusations of racism. Despite these risks, the industry is always changing, with new techniques being experienced on all the time. In the end, marketing is a diverse field where creativity and care are both very important.